So, this is my November wrap up. I managed to read the most books I've read this year in November, which is wild to me because I didn't think I'd actually ever be able to read 11 books. Like, do not get me wrong, two of them are mangas, but even then they're omnibuses, so they're quite thick. And I'm kind of happy that I actually managed to do this because I have missed reading like this many books, like so much. Like, a lot of my time recently has been working a lot, like waking up early and all that sort of stuff. I've got this new job, got this new life. I'm really enjoying the fact that I can wake up early and read and not have to worry about work. I've got 2 set days off every week, which I know is like normal for like a lot of people. But for me, was a head chef, I still am really. Um, that was unheard of. My new place, it shuts 2 days a week, and I have so much more time to read, and I am loving life to its fullest now. I get to enjoy it a lot more. And well, it's obvious by the fact that I managed to read 11 books this month, well, last month. And well, let's talk about them a little bit. And hopefully you can find your next favorite read out of these, because I definitely have found my favorite book I have read this year. And it's probably one of my favorite fantasies I've read in quite some time. So I can't wait to talk about that one a little bit. But let's get into this. The first book I read in November was Bunny. This went viral on TikTok, Instagram, all that sort of fun stuff. About a year, 2 years ago now, and I bought it then. I just never got around to it, and now I finally got through it. I can somewhat see why so many people were hyping this up about how it's somewhat related to Dark Academia, but for me, I rated it 3 stars. I just couldn't get into it because for me, the whole time, I felt like I was on an acid trip and I didn't know which parts were actually real, which parts were because they were taking certain substances. And I kind of felt because I was feeling that way, I couldn't get the whole magic of the story into my head because I was just so confused a lot of the time to figure out which part I was meant to be, this is real life, or which parts are like, shit, acid trip. Or if when there was certain parts where it was all mixed together, it just felt like you needed a bit more like real life stuff to be able to understand it and like understand the differences and which parts were making like more sense to the main character, or which parts were just because she was on this acid trip. I don't think I could ever reread this book because the whole magic behind it has now gone. Kind of after you finish the whole book, you're like, oh, well, it's kind of pointless to get into this. I don't like it when the shock factor's gone. Like, don't get me wrong, I could reread thrillers like all day and night, but that is because it's like a mystery and it kind of has some like little jump scares that you kind of don't forget every now and then. But when it's a book like this, where the main shock factor is the whole trip and things that happen on the trip, you kind of lose it. I kind of just felt like 3 stars was the most I could possibly give this book, and I do recommend it to some people if you're looking for like a little instep into like weird dark academia sort of things. But for me, 3 stars was the max. A little bit disappointed with this. And on to another viral TikTok sensation, Babel. I love this book from start to finish. I now understand why everyone was raving about it so much. This to me is the Dark Academia book to recommend to people because no matter which way you put it, everything you want from Dark Academia, the magic, the suspense, the darkness is in this, and it's written perfectly. Like, I've been holding off on reading RF Kwan because I want to get to the popular war, I really do, and Yellowface as well. But I just feel like with how much hype this author was getting, there's no way it could live up to it, and this did. I rate this 5 stars. I loved this to hell and back. To me, I will recommend this to anyone more than The Secret History or If We Were Villains. I've not yet read If We Were Villains, to be honest, but just something about this book scratched that certain part of your brain for when you're looking for Dark Academia. You're looking for that certain little scratch to be hit, and it did it. It did it so well. All the characters were enjoyable, well, except for the bad guys. But all the characters were really enjoyable. They got the great growth throughout the book, and it just made you fall in love with them so much more. All the little twists and turns were fantastic. All the magical aspects I really enjoyed, especially the whole silver bars aspect. I want more of it. I kind of want a sequel. But obviously, I know you can't have a sequel with this sort of book, but kind of do just to know more about how, or a prequel, actually a prequel. I fucking love a prequel to know more about this silver bar thing. But still, 5 stars. If you've not yet read Babel and you've been like me, holding off just a little bit, don't anymore. Just pick this up as soon as you possibly can. I'll get the 2 mangas out of the way now. I read book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, or volume 1 and 2 of the omnibus of 7 Deadly Sins. I've been looking to get into manga again recently, and I did read Classroom Assassination as well recently. I think it was in November or October. I'll do some research in a little bit. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the weirdness. I'm enjoying the fight scenes. I'm enjoying about how obviously I'm two massive volumes in, and we've not yet met all the seven deadly sins, which I kind of liking. We have this little like found family journey going on that I kind of do like. Do not get me wrong. There are some scenes in this that are quite weird and need to you kind of have to skip over it a little bit, which is a bit iffy. And if I was going to watch the anime of this, I might be a bit weirded out if that scene's actually on TV. But still, I think this is very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to reading the other ones in the omnibus as well to find out how this story progresses. And I want to know more about the main characters as well, to see how they're all going to form together, if there's any more twists and turns. If they get any more special powers as well, that would be sick. Because I'm really enjoying finding out all these powers that they used to have 10 years ago, just slowly come back into the thing. And obviously, Hammy. Yes, I love everything about him. I want this pig tattooed on my body already. I can already tell that's going to happen. So can't wait for that. I rated these 4 stars each. Can't wait to get into the next ones. I also read 3 Riley Sager books this month. These are the ones that I read. Just because they are somewhat basically the same thing when you read a thriller book, no matter which way you try and put it. They are, especially when they're by the same author as well. Basically, I really enjoyed the main character in With a Vengeance, and that was the only main character I actually really enjoyed. The other two were just like, you need to grow up a little bit here. If you didn't want these bad things to happen to you, if you let go of the things that had happened to you in the past and you were an adult and didn't go back to the area where you've just escaped from, you would have been fine. And I do love Riley Sager, but sometimes when you're reading so many of his books back to back to back, you kind of just wish he'd stop. Like, maybe throw in a different main character, maybe make these main characters a little bit smarter, as it would just help so much with the story writing a little bit. But even then, the twists were great. I really enjoyed it. But I think I've read too many thrillers at this point. I need to take a little bit of a break because I feel like some of the twists were a little bit too predictable for my liking, especially in Lock Every Door. I guessed that twist so early on that I just kind of was a bit annoyed by it because I was like, oh, great. That was so easy. And like the whole point of a thriller is to be excited to find out the twist, to figure out what's going to happen next. If you were right about who was the bad guy, and if you're not right, that is great. I love that feeling so much. But unfortunately, it just didn't happen for me with this one, and I'm a little bit annoyed about it. But I am going to try and read the other 2 Riley Sager books I've got left in December, and we'll see how that goes. But hopefully, they're a little bit better than these ones. 3.5 on each of these. They were decent. If you want looking for a quick, easy thriller, then Riley Sager's the guy you go to. So yeah, Ready Player One used to be my all-time favorite book. I say used to be. I reread it in November, and some of the things in it just didn't hit the same as they did 4 years ago when I first got back into reading, which is because of this book, to be fair. And do not get me wrong, it's still a top 10 for me, and it always will be a top 10, but due to the fact that this is the reason I now have this behind me, because it hit that certain little scratch in your brain that I needed to go like, fuck, I love books. I need to get back into this. I've missed it so much. And because of this one book, I now have so many others. I'm so behind on my TBR goal, but still. This should be a lit RPG. And I hope one day Ernest Cline rewrites it as a lit RPG because this would bang. Make this a dungeon crawler Carl. Make this a wandering inn where you can't just have all the big powers right from the off because you're able to buy them. I want to see Wade work his ass off to be able to level up, to be able to do certain things. But obviously, that's not the whole premise of the book. The whole premise of the book is to save the video game from the bad guys. For me, this used to be the pinnacle of gaming fantasy, but nowadays it's obviously up there because obviously I've read a lot of the RPGs recently. It's not up there anymore. The story's fine. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the 80s, so like some of the things, like obviously all the references are of the 80s, and I do like the whole fact that even though I don't know anything about the 80s, you still get the little insights. You still feel really excited. You're like, oh shit, that's actually pretty cool. But I still hate the 80s, but still. I rated this 4 stars after my reread. I still think it's a great book. I do think people should read it if they're looking to get into the gaming fantasy genre, but it's not as great as what I used to think it is, and I'm kind of scared to ever reread it again because I think my rating would go down again. But I am going to be reading Ready Player 2 at some point, which I'm really not looking forward to because I hated that book when I first read it 4 years ago. I'm scared to what I think about it now when I'm much harsher critic. I'm not a cricket. Could be a crick. Okay, that'd be interesting. I'm a much harder critic than I used to be, so we shall have fun with that. I read Delegates the Dream Department Store. I read this because I was trying to read a whole week of translated fiction, and I got to this. It's fine. That's the best way I can put it out to you. It's fine. It kind of shows you the relevance of dreams to certain people and how they affect their day-to-day lives. It's I don't want to say fine again, but that's the best way I can put this. I rate this 2.5. If you're looking for a really quick, easy translated fiction that somewhat has similar vibes to The Midnight Library and Before the Coffee Gets Cold, then this might be perfect for you. I think it's a decent read. I just wanted a little bit more, and I didn't get it, which I'm kind of a little disappointed about. Basically, the exact same thing. Goodnight Tokyo, you want more from it. It's a short story collection where in the end all the stories come together to form one big thing. And I like that aspect of it a lot. I do think I wanted more of the short stories to be able to build up the whole, like, how much you like these characters. And unfortunately, you don't get it. So, yeah, 2.5 again. The Sword of Kagan. My new favourite book of all time, I think. I can say that with some confidence. This book hit every checkpoint ever that is needed for a fantasy book in my mind. You fall in love with the main character. It has some dark, twisty endings. It has turns that you didn't believe would actually happen, especially when they happened, which is another big thing for me about why I love this book so much. You get some amazing samurai scenes. This is basically Shogun mixed with Avatar. How is that not going to be amazing? And like, I could rave about this book all day and night. But the best thing about it is the writing. You sit there, any question you might have about this book while reading it gets answered. Any character progression that you might want from this book gets done. And it is great to read. It feels so refreshing to have this back in a book. And it feels like it's been some time since I felt that way about a book. I thought Babel was great, and it's still a 5-star read. But this would probably be my first 6-star read I've given out in easy 2 years, because it just has that thing about it that just makes anyone love it. I've not yet seen anyone rate this below 4.5 stars, and that is massive. On Goodreads and Fable, which is the one, Fable's the app I use, Goodreads the one I just checked to see the bigger score, and 4.5 on each. Like, how is that not amazing? Because it has so many reviews, and to have above 4.5 for an independent-based book as well. Like, don't get me wrong, don't like the cover, don't like how it feels. I have seen recently there might be some special editions coming out soon for this book, and I will be buying them as soon as I possibly can. But Emma Wang, you maybe want to read your other book that is out, which I think is called something about bleeding. Blood of a Bright Haven. I want to get to that now because of how good this was, and I just want more of her writing, to be honest. Like, don't get me wrong, I want a prequel, I want a sequel, I want to know more about this, but this is a standalone, and it is without a doubt the best standalone I have read in years. And if you're looking for a new fantasy, no matter if you don't care about samurais, or that you don't really care about people with powers, I think you will enjoy this so much if you're looking for your next favorite fantasy read, because this is perfection. Kind of sad I didn't wait until end of December to read this, so that way I could end this year on a massive high, because I feel like every book after this is going to be a little bit of a disappointment because it doesn't hit the same absolute scale that this one had hit. Like, the books I've got on my list, some of them might get close, but I don't think that nothing will get close to this. And I'm a bit sad I didn't wait to the end of the year to read it, but at the same time, I'm so happy that I finally got to it, and I enjoyed it as much as I did. So, yeah. So my November was actually quite great. I read my favorite book of all time. I got a new high recommendation for Dark Academia. I read some new manga, which I'm kind of happy about. It's a shame about the translated fiction, because they could have been up there with some of the better ones, but unfortunately they just weren't. And I read some more Riley Sager, which is always a good time, even if his main characters you do want to slap around the face a little bit. But yeah, what book did you read through November, and what was your favourite? Then please let me know down below, as I would love to know, because I always want to add more to my TBR. Until next time.